What's up, everybody? Welcome to Hip Hop Harmonics. This is your host, Ricky Watson. We're out here in Asia exploring the relationships, culture, diversity, and inclusion that's brought together through the hip hop movement. And here we have a special interview for today from the Godfather of Hip Hop himself, Mr. Russell Simmons. Let's check it out.
Be elite. You know what I'm saying? Flexing when we put up on the scene. Outcast, so fresh, so clean. Big drip. When you see us, yeah, we doing big things. Iced out chain, we descended from king. Big drip.
You may or may not know, Mr. Simmons himself has pioneered an entrepreneurial movement of hip hop all over the world, fashion labels, record labels, and so much more. Now he's out here in Bali with a yoga retreat, bringing people together, harmonizing, bringing out some energy that we feel here in Bali. And he has multiple talent agencies all over Asia. But without further ado, let's get into that. Let's go.
So I run a talent agency in 13 countries and America. America was new. I met this woman, Althea, who was helping me build out a yoga platform. And she had all of these influences. So look, turns out she has 80,000 influences on a database. And she represents, I don't know how many exclusively. I'm the chairman, so we represent. And so I bought into the company and I opened the office in America.
Yeah.
And the reason I thought it was fascinating is that, you know, there's a bridge building process. And the lack of resources for those who want to, you know, spread their messages around the globe is astounding when you have so many opportunities and so many connections and so much to share, but yet there's no real talent agents representing them and helping them to bridge the gap. So the thing I thought was fascinating about what they do, because we have office in Thailand, in Vietnam, in Indonesia, in China, in Korea, in Japan, you know, it goes on.
Yeah.
And we have offices in all those places. And these people, and there are many artists. I had dinner with a Chinese artist the other day, Wang, his name is Wang. I can't think of his first name. He's the biggest artist in China. I didn't know his name. But
Jackson?
His manager, and Jackson Wang, of course, right? So Jackson Wang and his manager are hot in like 11 of the 13 countries we're in.
Right, they are.
So, and you know, and they're speaking, even though there's different languages. So the hip hop and the commercial music and the R&B and whatever influenced mostly heavily by American culture, that music is spreading despite the language barriers, and America's last on the boat, right? So, but Jackson, we know that there's ways to make him hot in America. So that's what Gush Cloud, that's one of the things Gush Cloud does. What we mostly do is we bridge gap from business. We make deals with Snoop Dogg in Indonesia. We just make deals for artists who want to spread their influence and want to build bridges between what they do creatively and a lot of the duets we create by getting, you know, a pop star from China and a pop star from America, or from Korea and America. It seems pretty obvious, but we're the only agency dedicated to that. We have 350 agents around the world.
That's amazing.
Right? So it's a real thriving business, and it's called Gush Cloud, Gush Cloud.
Yeah, I think Max
I'm the chairman.
this, and he showed me a video of you working with some artists in Los Angeles recently, or signing something. Correct me if I'm wrong. Was that Gush Cloud?
Well, I was at the Gush Cloud office, but I went to America, and then I came back after 4 months in New York and LA. I came back and I had an emergency meeting in LA. So I went back and I signed 2 or 3 deals, actually. So a lot of the stuff that we're doing, I don't have to be there, but some people want to look you in the face.
Yeah.
I've flown 12,000 miles and gotten somewhere, and then they say, let's do it on Zoom. Pretty frustrating, because almost all can be done on Zoom, right?
Yeah,
anyway,
we learned that for sure.
Yeah, but everyone, old school business people, don't all know that, and sometimes you have to look at it.
There's something.
So tell me what your mission. Tell me more about your mission.
All right, so I'm on a mission to help expose how hip hop brings cultures together, generally in a world that's relatively divisive in some ways. You know, I started in China, and that was the whole point. Is to look, because it's during Trump's era, you know, and Trump had a lot of disagreements with the Chinese and Chinese people in general. They had a lot of misunderstandings of Americans, and they wouldn't always communicate with us in a positive way. So I found that hip hop, because I used to go out to the clubs, of course, but you might have Chinese that don't talk to you that much on the street or wherever, and Americans or foreigners that might not talk to Chinese so much. But everyone came together when the music's playing, right? So I got this idea of like, you know what, let me look at the relationship between hip hop and how it can bring people together during times of uncertainty, during times of turmoil, because the relationships are not always good with China. But people, however, find common ground through art, and hip hop is art, it's music. So I'm on a mission to, yeah.
Well, that's
Go
a great
ahead.
mission. I mean, it's one that I've been on my whole life as well. I mean, we find music and artists in general who have open hearts. You know, as a practicing
Yes.
yogi, I know that what they call nadi yoga, right? The sound, the yoga of sound. Sound brings you to presence. And so
Yes.
yogis through sound and other artists through painting and other art, they bring themselves to a space of awareness. And therefore, they don't follow the norm always. They don't listen to the collective, which might be going the wrong way. If the collective is all putting people in ovens, they decide, no, we don't want to do that, because they look in their heart, forget what the norm is. If they have slaves, or if they have, you know, apartheid going on, or some horrific abuse of animals, or they can look inside, because they are fine-tuning their relationship with their outer self and the true self. So this is why art is so important in bridging gaps, because you see the commonality and the sameness in each other. And music, for sure, the sound, the vibration brings you to an awareness, a presence.
It does.
And when one is present, he doesn't see the difference between himself and others.
Yeah, I definitely noticed that when I'm in the club. We might not speak the same language, but we both dance the same. We feel the music, you feel the vibrations. And just by that commonality, it kind of opens the door to communication between people that you might have had disagreements with or misunderstandings with. So yeah, this is the mission. The mission now, it started in China, but it's to explore not only the Chinese relationship, that dynamic, but to go to other countries that are kind of relatively not known for that. Indonesia or Vietnam or Thailand even. Seek out the local hip hop artists, seek out the foreign artists there, get them together, have interviews, have roundtable discussions, and have them maybe collectively make music together. Because my friends and I have a business in China called Best Life Entertainment. We bring Chinese artists and foreign artists together to make collaborative tracks. So they make songs together, make music together. I met the guys out here in Indonesia, some artists. So I'm potentially trying to do the same thing. But I've only been here for about 2 months, but that's my long-term vision, is to hop around Asia and just kind of keep this going, keep this campaign going. And I saw you're out here, and I had to interview you and talk to you about this.
Well, it's something that, you know, that I feel strongly about. The reason I opened the agent, or I became the chairman of this agency and helped to build it to where it is today, is because I believe in bridge building. Right, and I believe music, of course, is a big part of bridge building.
It is.
So we're certainly doing a lot of that, and a lot of collaborations and stuff. So we're doing some of the same work.
Yeah, I always like to say a lot of us have the same destination in mind, but take different paths to get there. So yeah, your path is definitely more advanced than mine, more mature, but I believe we both share the same interests and same destination.
And you're saying I'm old.
No, I mean, you're more experienced.
It's the intention and the work.
Yeah.
No, but the intention and the work is all that matters. You're not, you know, the world is going to keep evolving, and our input is minimal. But our input for our own soul and for what we're doing, and for if there was a judgment day, then it's the intention, right? How big or how small your input is, all for your ego, as long as you're doing the work. So what you're doing is very special and very similar. Maybe you should speak to my office about how we can work together, and you could maybe represent in some cities, and especially in China. We have 50 agents in China. You should meet
Absolutely.
them.
You know, I'm really,
let's
I'm an advocate
stay in touch
for
on that. But
and people ask me,
people
ask me, why did you go to China? And I'm like, you know, I wanted to choose the most opposite place, almost in every way, to go and feel uncomfortable for a bit, because I knew it was important that I be there to help, you know, Chinese understand how Americans are. From Def Jam recordings near Pursuit and Fashion to now having a retreat or a yoga presence in Bali. What was the key factor in this transition? What brought you out to Bali and made you pursue this as as an entrepreneur?
Well, no, I didn't come as an entrepreneur. I came to spend a month out of the limelight when I was scandalized. So I came here and I stayed a month, and then I went back to America, and I came back about the 10th time I got here. I said, let me buy some land, because I felt I kept coming back, and I never lived anywhere but New York and LA, but I kept really loving Bali, and Mother Bali kept calling me back, and then I bought this land, I built this house, this hotel is being built, the Snoop Dogg house is over there, so I built all these houses in this space, and I'm developing business. My main office is in Singapore. You know, I met Althea in Bali, and she was the president of this company, Gush Cloud, and I started working with her, and then I started doing other business. And, you know, I'm an entrepreneur. I can't escape. You know,
so it's a life.
But I just got back 2 days ago. Yeah, I got back 2 days ago, and you know, there's a lot to do in America. There's a lot to do here. So now I'm, you know, I don't like to travel that much, but you know, I have to go to Singapore next week, so I'm still moving a lot. But no, it's not far at all. My main office is there, like I said. So
of course.
I'm going there, and I'll be there for F1 as well. So I find that this shift for me, you know, at my age, I'm old as fuck. I don't know if you know that. I'm really old. So you know, I live here in yoga. Well, thank you. I live here in what I call yoga and vegan Disneyland. I get up, I jump in the pool, I meditate, I ride my scooter to hot yoga class. I come back, I lay on my swing, I make my calls. I live a very, very easy life.
Yes.
Right? And so it's beautiful, and it became, you know, the lifestyle that I wanted for, you know, for now. My kids love it here, which is important to me. And, you know, I expect now that COVID is really over and the hotel is opening, I'll be seeing a lot of friends here. I already have seen a lot, but I mean a whole lot, you know. So I expect that they'll come and they'll see the rejuvenation center. This is a rejuvenation center. It's a modern health technology center. It's going to have cryotherapy and hyperbaric chambers and all those things.
Wow.
It's also a school for yogic science. So we have 4 yoga shells. We can teach yoga teachers how to teach people not to suffer. So that's what I'm building.
Yeah.
And you know, it's kind of like, you know, my retirement plan, even though I have all these new businesses.
You know, you mentioned retirement. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say I'm launching a bank in the next few weeks called Def Cloud.
Oh.
I don't know if you remember that Rush Card was the very first.
Yeah, I remember Rush Card. Yeah, I remember.
It was the first. It was the first fintech bank, and now everyone is using this kind of banking service. But we were first, and all of the inventions that we had, card-to-card transfer, early direct deposit. Same day say, I mean, all of the things we did are the things that they're using today to lure customers, and companies are worth 90, 80, 60 billion dollars. Wow, and they're doing what we did. We sold before anybody understood it. And it was great to sell it. You know, I enjoyed it. I gave a lot of to charity. It was fantastic. But had I held that company and sold today, the same customers and even the same technology, it would have been worth billions, but people never understood what we were doing. They kept thinking it was for underserved communities, but it was for everyone, as you know.
Right.
So fintech banking is something that my partner, I had a non-compete until now. My partner rebuilt the whole infrastructure. He had no non-compete, and we're going back to that. That's one thing. And there's like 3 or 4 things like that. And then Gush Cloud. And so I have plenty of stuff to do. But, you know, I prioritize my meditation. I prioritize my youth. And I prioritize, like, if I do, as Def Cloud becomes more successful, it will be like Rush Card. What did Rush Card do but underwrite programs of nonviolence around the country? To underwrite, we were the first to visit Flint, Michigan and bring water. We were the first. We underwrote the Million Family March. We put our money in the hood where we made our money. And I thought that was beautiful to be able to visit Boys Club in Cincinnati or some, you know, place where they needed help and they were struggling, and be able to write them a check or have synergistic partnership with the other programs we built. So that, to me, is what Def Cloud is going to be all about giving back to the community. the black bank. We don't have any that are meaningful. And so this one will be. So anyway, that's one of the things we're doing. But I'm staying busy.
Yeah, so I can see. And you know, Bali, we did mention this when I was with Max about how Bali cultivates the creativity and the hustle within people. Sometimes it's a place for rejuvenation and relaxation and transformation, but it's also a place to spur entrepreneurial mindsets and have people realize, you know, I can actually make something for myself here, because there's so many people coming here, starting things. And your story by doing this is, again, an example of that. Maybe at a higher level, but that people can come to one place, fall in love with the magic of Bali, and then create something for themselves and their families. So
you will awesome. Find it to be very soothing and supportive of your creative work. You'll see.
Yeah, I felt the love. I feel nothing but love here. Obviously, the people are the most beautiful, hospitable, but the artists here and the foreigners, like there's a magic. You can feel it. I always believe it's the ocean, but there's so much more here than that. There's the mountains, the volcanoes. You know, I feel the energy and I love it.
There's something every night to do. Tonight is a hip hop tea party. You know,
hip hop tea
Japanese
party.
Tea house. Japanese tea house is having a hip hop tea party. You know, that's a zest. You know, you know, are you in Ubud?
I'm not in Ubud. I'm in Canggu, but it's not far. It's not too far.
Yeah, but right. So I'm just making that point. So there's always something creative going on. There's static dances, and there's Disco Africa Saturday you'll probably go to. So there's a lot to do here. Actually, more to do here than I was in LA. So what are we gonna do? We'll go. Nothing shit to do in LA.
I lived in LA too. It was fun, but this is a little better because we have that balance. I mean, we have beaches in LA, but it's different here. Like everywhere you go, there's just the nature, and then there's cool, chill vibes, cool events everywhere. It's becoming more commercial in some aspects, but I think that's good. I definitely think it's good for the local economy because I know tourism's their main money maker out here. So that's really cool. Back to the music. I know from the streets of New York to Indonesia and all over Asia, how do you think hip hop has been able to attract different ethnic audiences and national backgrounds? How do you think what element of hip hop you think has brought so many different cultures into that fray and having them express themselves?
The honesty.
The honesty?
The honesty, and and the integrity. And, you know, it was just time. And, you know, it's for the soul of people and Black people around the world has always been soothing and healing, and it's always been musicality has been always, you know, one of the things we recognize for. But the hip hop is a universal idea because of the rhythm, and it comes from Africa, and because of the honesty in terms of what they rapped about in the past. Various subject matter, but almost always the best is the honest, the most honest. And those things stick, and people can feel it. You don't even have to speak the language to feel something that's authentic. Yeah. And hip hop is authentic in many cases, you know, in most cases. And that's what makes it rise.
Allows people to tell their stories. It's a platform for storytelling, I believe. And, you know, I've been to a lot of spoken words. I used to write poetry a lot in college. And I always believe that music is a platform to help you tell your story, when in other ways it might be more difficult, but the music brings it out, the beats and whatnot. So
poetry and music and art is how people express things they can't say otherwise. So this is very important. That's why protecting the comedians, the poets, and others from too much scrutiny. They have to say what's on their heart. And what's on their heart many times is what's on the mind and heart of other people who will not express it, because they do, they'd be demonized. So you have to be able to say what people are thinking in order to change it or make it better or just expose it. The truth needs to come out, even if it's uncomfortable. So a lot of times hip hop says things that make you uncomfortable, and poetry makes you uncomfortable. But it's the only way to get this out, because if not, no one will oppose the collective's madness, because the collective will go on a tangent and hurt people and hurt themselves in such a way. But artists from the heart can feel a sense, and then it can express something that people are overlooking or ignoring or blocking out. So that's what we do. We block out. So why is the suffering of animals destroying the planet all over the planet? LA's in a heat wave right now. People can't even leave their houses.
It's the droughts all over the world.
The droughts all over the world, and
so
yet
many
they
droughts.
still continue to abuse animals, even though we know it's number one cause. And all it does is make you sick. It makes you sick and destroys the planet, and the suffering is beyond belief. Even if the Bible said dominion over the animals, it never meant to cause that suffering. So
that's very true.
You know, it's unbelievable what the collective can do without the voice of the artist interceding and giving them some rational, real insight into the soul, what people are thinking and not saying.
Yeah, that's very true. Like we got
people are getting put in the oven. It has to occur to you. It has to occur to you when people are being put in a plant in an oven that it's not right. But no one will say anything. But a few poets would write something, right? A few poets would say something. But just an example. There's so many examples of the collective's unconscious behavior, and artists pointing it out. Which is, and now even the comedians, who are under siege, also, have been very important in saying things that people wouldn't say. The whole cancel culture and stuff, and comedians have been able to buck the system a little bit and say, no,
that's true.
America has a way of going, not only insensitive, but going irrational. The whole collective, the whole country will go on a tangent. That's because the thinking mind will let you do so, but the heart won't.
Yeah, that's very true.
The heart will straighten it out. So that's why artists who dig to the heart, and that's where the creativity comes from, in here. The other stuff is out surface shit. But what comes out, it's creative from here. And in here, we know what's right and wrong. We make better choices. That's why artists, we make, even if it seems hurtful, it's truthful. And we have to hear it.
And can you explain what the collective is? What is the collective?
The whole group. The whole collective is, like the American society. The group is going where? The American society is going where? And then, they're going towards, and in general, people are different, but in general, the American society is doing this. And you're there watching. That makes sense. As an artist, you're not going to join that. You're going to say, oh no, I'm not going to eat those animals. I'm not going to, cause that suffering. I'm not going to buy into it just because everybody's doing it. The collective is everybody's doing it. And we don't want to do everybody.
I get it. That makes sense. So you don't eat meat?
Right. No, not for 25 years. I cheat.
Oh, man.
But I am a vegan for 25 years.
Yeah.
I don't eat meat ever, but I sometimes cheat and eat fish off someone's plate or something.
Yeah.
But I'm a vegan for 25 years.
That makes sense. Yeah, I still eat meat sometimes, but I'm considering getting off of it a little bit. So I'm right there with you. I believe that we need to cleanse ourselves.
You're in Bali. It's very easy.
Yeah, there's healthy places everywhere. Yeah.
All right. So ask me, you have more questions. Tell me what they are.
Yeah. Let's see. I also wanted to know a little bit about the entrepreneurial aspect of, aspiring artists. And so what advice would you give like American artists or even local Indonesian or Asian artists trying to establish their brand in other countries, whether in Asia or outside of the country? What advice would you give those artists who are trying to establish their brand in a foreign place?
Well, it's always exposure. I don't know where the best, whether it's performance or whether it's online or whether it's, online gives you a great opportunity to really share. And if something's really good, it can pick up, it could go viral, but so you're constantly exposing your art. You're making it and you're exposing it. You're making, you're exposing it. And as honesty will again stand up.
Right.
And if you do something that's honest and heartfelt, and if the melody is so great, then it will stand up on its own. Or if it's good, it'll play some. And you just keep expressing yourself. The art and the work is the prayer. The results of that work is not what's going to make you happy. Doing the work should make you happy. When you're making the music, you should be happy at work. That's right.
Right. You got to keep it honest. Keep it honest and
right.
enjoy the journey, even if the journey is difficult. There's always lessons within those difficult times. That makes sense.
That's right.
So what has been a challenge for you, like during your transition to Bali and coming more so,
Well, no,
I don't know the whole story, but coming out of the hip hop and Def Jam recording scene into the more yoga scene, what has been maybe like a challenge or obstacle you've had to overcome transitioning between countries?
Over years, it's been slow, you know, the evolution. I went to my first yoga class probably 30 years ago, and I fell in love with it. I went every day. And I read the Yoga Sutras and the Bhagavad Gita, and I started to read all scriptures and books relating to yoga. And to go to a very, very spiritual teacher, where we did physical asana, the Jiva Mukti science book was special. And Jiva Mukti was a place, and Sharon and David were my gurus early on. And there was another teacher, Steve Ross, who played loud rap music, and he had been a monk. So, you know, this journey was an ongoing study of what is yoga. And yoga is the science of happiness, the science of you know, of moving towards an awareness. When one is fully aware, awake, she or he never suffers. So try to get less suffering. I said to get people out of the suffering, less suffering. The noise is the cause of suffering. The stillness is the cause of peace and happiness. So we meditate daily, and we do the physical asana practice so that we can calm the mind. And when the mind is still, then the universe unravels. And you heard that many times. So that's the reality. And when you find that to be true, you pursue it more. It became my main pursuit, yoga.
I think I also need more of that. Not only because I'm not very flexible, but also I have a restless mind. And, you know, I think as Americans in general, we grow up with restless minds because we have these expectations that are kind of placed on us by the collective, right? By societal standards that we're automatically thrown in. And although I'm mixed Black, I grew up in a Black family, so I kind of have a little bit of pressure because it's not always easy for us, you know, coming from these backgrounds. So you have the American standards, societal standards to follow and try to pursue the American dream, which has some stress, go to school and this and that. But then you also got to fight against the, you know, the prejudice or oppression that you sometimes may face as a Black man, even mixed or person of color. So I've had that kind of restless mind like ingrained in me over years. But when I came to Bali, I realized this is a place to kind of rejuvenate, as you mentioned, practice some yoga. So I'm definitely trying to free my mind of the anxieties that were kind of built over time, but I also want to help artists, you know, come together. And that's kind of been my mission here in Bali. Yeah, so it's a beautiful place to do both of these things. All right. So yeah.
So you know what? I'm gonna see you at Disco Africa on Saturday.
Okay. That sounds good.
All right.
Yes.
And we'll make sure that we meet up together. It's a pleasure to meet you, sir.
You too. Yeah, that's about it. You know, thank you for your time. I know you're a busy man, and I appreciate you once again. I'll see you soon. All right, take care.
Thank you.
When you see us here, we doing big things. Iced out chain, we descended from kings. Drip, 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 drip.